So there are, my understanding here, Dow can correct me, there is still under GDPR and the UK Data Protection Act, there are, whilst consent is the preferred mechanism, there are cases when consent may not be appropriate to be gained. And the case I think we're thinking about most of us here is fraud prevention. Whereas if we asked a fraudster, are they happy for us to process their voice in order that we can check that they are not a fraudster, then they're likely to not give us consent. So I don't know if you want to talk about, I think it's the substantial public interest
important.
exemption.
There was a problem there with EU law in that, and this is covered by Article 23 in the GDPR, which unfortunately says member states may depart from the requirements relating to data subject rights about informing and consent when necessary to fight crime. The problem with that is it leaves it to the member states exactly how they do it and to what extent they do it. And the different member states have adopted different laws on these exemptions. So yes, by and large, you will find in all these laws some exemptions that say you obviously don't have to inform somebody that you reasonably suspect of being a fraudster that you are suspecting him. But the details depend on the national law. So in that particular respect, you have to crawl through as many laws as you happen to be subject to. And that is really annoying. In other context, the protection authorities in Europe generally say valid consent is difficult to obtain from your employees because you're obviously in a hierarchical relation with them. In some contexts, that may not be a problem. For instance, in Velosoft, the employees are asked to participate in trials of the software. And they don't have to, they're saying, would you like to try it out and we can improve the software if we do it. I don't think there's a problem with that kind of consent. If it's consent about tricky things, then there might be a problem. It's resolved in many European countries, not in the UK. Well, the UK is not an EU country anymore anyway, but not in all, by advising the advice of the Workers' Council. In many countries, there's a Workers' Council. So if you want to introduce biometrics as a means of recording who goes in and out of the building and when that happens, or when people make deliveries, delivery drivers and things like that, you discuss it with the Workers' Council and you come up with a set of rules for it. For instance, the driver must be able to switch it off if he starts being out of office. He's now using the car for his own purposes, and the boss doesn't need to know his car is out of office hours. But in office hours, it should be. Those are the kind of details that you work out in discussions with your employees. And if you do that rightly, you'll be okay as far as data protection law is concerned. But you'll have to look at the national law. The US laws tend to have much broader exemptions for fraud prevention, by the way.
Yeah, so I think in UK law, there's a specific basis of processing that is prevention of fraud. Yeah. So just a few more questions that keep popping up to both to me and to other people on the call.